I'm joined now by Shadim Hussain, who's the CEO of My Foster Family and a member of the government's National Adoption Steering Group. He's also a member of the newly formed Adoption Racial Disparity Group. Shadim, are you with me?
I am. Good evening, David. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much. So tell us about where we are in the country in relation to, generally first, in relation to adoption and fostering and why we do need people to come forward, the reality of that. And let's get us into also the particular context, Shadim, given your experience, for those who are coming from Black, Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds.
I think the first thing we have to recognise, David, is the significant number of children from Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities that are in the care system. You mentioned 80,000 children. 24% of them are from Black, Asian, minority ethnic communities. So already we know that, this group of children is disproportionately represented in the care system. Secondly, the system for many years has failed these children and potential foster carers and adopters. What we do know is the average child waits 900 days to find a adoption placement. For Black boys, they wait on average 1,300 days. That's almost 4 years of a child waiting to find...
Let's just pause on that, Shadim. I hadn't realised it was quite that bad. Black boys who have not got a family, not got parents, are disproportionately in the system in the first place, are waiting on average 4 years to find an adoptive family, a forever family.
Almost 1,300 days, so just over 3 years.
Yeah, God, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, it is absolutely. And at the same time, what we know is that, Black children and those from ethnic minorities are most definitely waiting longer to find that match placement. Secondly, what we also know is adopters from Black and minority ethnic backgrounds experience longer delays in being matched for approval. So, whilst we've got this double whammy with these children, more work needs to be done. And the positive thing is, and you mentioned the National Adoption Steering Group that I'm a member of, and Carol, who we just heard from earlier, is also on that group. There is some very positive action going on across the sector where, different individuals from different backgrounds and organisations have come together and are really raising, the bar in terms of looking at the intricacies of why these issues exist and trying to resolve some of these issues, David.
The law as it stands at the moment was changed a few years ago to ensure that anybody could adopt, whatever the racial background of a child. Now, of course, there is a hope that you can naturally place people with cultures that are similar to their own backgrounds. But my understanding is that a home is a home, that love is love, and there was a rule change to make sure that anybody who could do that could adopt a child from whatever racial background. Is that right?
Absolutely. And this, what you're referring to, back in Jan 2020, Michelle O'Donnellan, who was the then Minister of Children and Families, wrote a letter to adoption services across the country and stated in that letter that we should not prioritise trying to find the perfect ethnic match for children. Now, the reality is that this statement was made, or this request was made, with a view that we should try to speed up that process of finding children homes. But what we do recognise from experience and knowledge, and some case studies, if I may share with you, David, there's an example going back many years of a chap called Paul McCormack. He grew up in care, and his name at birth was Yusuf, and at the given time, the fostering services who were looking after him changed his name to Paul McCormack. The reason his name was changed was so that he would have a better chance of finding a foster placement.
So tell me, what's the situation for young people from Muslim backgrounds? Are they being adopted?
Absolutely. I think that the positive thing is that, within faith communities, both within the Muslim community and many other faith communities, there is a strong interest in adoption, and many people from those communities do come forward.
Good.
So we somewhat have a positive situation there, where positive work has been going on for a number of years, and let's say some of those gaps have been reduced. Where we most definitely have the most acute issue is around black children. This is something that's been recognised and is being worked upon. The biggest concern for me from the recent fallout of the government's report was to hear the sad news of Samuel Kasuma, who was the special advisor to the government, who was handing in his resignation. I recently attended a roundtable discussion hosted by Samuel and many other people, and there's a tremendous effort going on, and this was somewhat disappointing that we don't want the wind to be taken out of the sails in the positive work that is going on to address these issues.
Your organisation, My Foster Family, very important. Can you just talk to us about foster care? And for people out there who may not have thought that this is something that they might be able to do, not just in relation to adoption, please just tell listeners about why they might think about fostering a child, whatever the child's background.
I mean, the best thing I heard yesterday from the show, listening in, was you mentioned that quite often we almost make it sound like we're doing the child a favour, like the child is in a state of needing the help. Yes, of course, the child is needing the help, and that help is most welcome. However, what people quite often underestimate is the value and the benefit and the joy that foster carers and adopters get from taking part. It's a two-way relationship, David. And you spoke yesterday about the joys that you've had of adopting. And this is the most important message that I like to get out to everyone is when you are considering fostering in particular, over the lifetime, an average foster carer may look after many children of many different backgrounds, many different ethnicities. And it's most important that people take the opportunity, for those who have the space, for those who have the circumstances at home that allow them. It may be that, you're not gifted with having your own children and this is that opportunity for you. It could be that your kids have moved on and that space has been created within your home. And over the years, I've managed to speak to hundreds of foster carers, and I'm yet to come across anyone, David, who regrets it. Yes, it's a challenging role to play. Yes, children will come with many different backgrounds and complexities, but the joys that people get from fostering, far outweighs those challenges that do come your way.
Shadim Hussain, who is the CEO of My Foster Family, thank you so much for kicking off the discussion.